This is round 16 of the 2024 PACE NSC. This round is sponsored by Gannon Evans, who has the following to say.
Oh.
Congratulations on your accomplishments this season.
That's why.
Seniors, best of luck. And if you're interested in College Quiz Bowl, check out ACF.
Nice.
Thanks, Dan. Right.
Thanks, Gannon.
And that's also
Going to Chicago.
that's Chicago Open, baby.
All right.
That's also
Let's do introductions and buzzer checks, starting on my left.
Jacob. Hazel. Okay. Oh.
Robert.
Kevin.
These Mike. Okay. These buses are okay.
Yeah. My name is Ryan, and I'll be reading this game. All right. We'll get started with toss-up 1. To capitalize... Oh, wait. Sorry. Can we close the door?
This is like operantly.
You have to,
Against.
okay, thank you.
Fuzzy.
Yeah, there's people outside.
To capitalize on a popular British brand of this good, the village of Onondaga Lake, New York, was renamed Liverpool. A tax on this good made up most of the revenue collected along a 2,400-mile border of plum trees and acacias called the Great Hedge of India.
Ouch. Salt.
20.
Every buzz
Liverpool
hurts.
fans are salty about.
Passive radiative cooling coats building roofs with a nearly perfect spectrum of this color. For 10 points each, name this color that is preferred in coatings that reject heat, since it ideally reflects all radiation.
Maybe white?
Reflects as white. Yeah.
White direct.
The most ultra-white paint contains insoluble salt of barium and this polyatomic ion. This generally soluble ion has a -2 charge and bears 4 oxygen atoms.
It's sulfate, right?
Yeah,
guys?
sulfate.
Sulfate.
Defer.
Barium sulfate is a great emitter because its value for this quantity is more than 7 electron volts, well above the energy of a solar photon. According to the Shockley-Queisser limit, the efficiency of photovoltaic cells is maximized when this quantity is 1.4 EVs.
This ain't albedo, right?
Reflectivity.
Binding affinity?
Answer? It's the band gap.
Oh.
Damn.
Well, good
So
20 anyway.
first two
All
for
right.
20, toss up 2. The song Uncle Nimra's White Horse was part of this dance's 1840s mania. Immigrants performing this dance in Texas inspired the Mexican genres of conjunto and norteño. Anna teaches this dance's moves of a hop followed by one chassé left and another right in the song Shall We Dance from The King and I. A village performs this dance to end the first act of Smetana's opera The Bartered Bride. This dance, which was combined with other regional dances like the Rajowa and mazurka, names a beer barrel song popular in Wisconsin. An oompa sound characterizes...
Polka.
Yep.
Good one.
Oh shit.
Oompa loompa.
Oops. That's probably in my computer. Bonus for Hastings. Censorship from the Licensing Act of 1737 led Drury Lane and Covent Garden to shift to performing burlesque and this other genre. For 10 points each, name the genre that dominated Victorian theater and de-emphasized characters for sensational stories and moral tales interspersed with musical scenes.
Common. These are Anna.
No, it's melodrama.
I'm trolling.
Victorian melodramas typically featured 6 stock characters calling back to its roots in this Italian theater genre. London street-side Punch and Judy shows were inspired by this genre's characters of Pulcinella and Harlequin.
Aren't they?
The licensing actors were response to The Golden Rump, a possibly fake play attributed to this author, who avoided scandal by focusing on novels like Tom Jones.
Feeling.
That's for 20, toss up 3. Alice Alma imparted this trait on the Holy Spirit movement's followers by enchanting their drinks to transform certain objects into water. General Butt Naked stripped bare to obtain this trait during the Liberian Civil War. A child of Typhon who slew Malorcus' son is revealed to have this trait after a hero strikes at its left flank, forcing that hero to corner it within a 2-mouthed cave.
Like being involved.
Yep.
Damn.
That's
Okay.
fine.
Whoa.
That's a good buzz.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh.
Yeah. Invulnerability rejects invincibility.
Would you have accepted being bulletproof by any chance?
Yeah, immune to bullets.
I was close.
Butt naked.
Yeah. While serving as maestro di cappella of this church, Adrian Willard developed an atypical style of music that used its opposing choir lofts. For 10 points each, name this church whose choir masters include Claudio Marullo and Giovanni Gabrielli.
It's Italian, so St. Paul's Cathedral.
Answer?
In London, St. Paul's Cathedral.
St. Mark's Basilica. While maestro of St. Mark's, Gabrielli popularized notating this aspect of music, which uses terms like piano and forte to indicate volume.
Like dynamics.
This Mantuan composer became maestro of St. Mark's in 1613, where he helped usher in the Baroque era of music. This composer of the Seconda Practica style developed an agitative style of music called stile concitato and wrote 9 books of madrigals.
Madrigals. Forget this guy's name. Pachelbel?
That's Monteverdi.
Monteverdi.
So 10 for the middle, toss up 4. In a house altar, this person sits with a man with a distended stomach, below a son whose rays end in hands. After claiming to discover this person's body in 2022, Zahi Hawass urged the Neues Museum to repatriate a statue of this person wearing green and red bands connected by a broken serpent. Ludwig Borchardt smuggled to Berlin a statue of this person that has a long neck and is missing quartz in its left eye. The hair of the Bride of Frankenstein was inspired by the tall blue crown that this woman wears.
Nefertiti.
10.
Yeah.
In the gray atmosphere model, the Eddington approximation gives an equation for the fourth power of temperature as a function of this quantity. For 10 points each, name this quantity that equals opacity times distance. This quantity is the negative logarithm of transmittance.
Absorbance?
Go with it.
Absorbance.
Defer.
Or optical depth. This layer of a star is defined to have an optical depth of 2/3. The temperature of this lowest layer of the solar atmosphere is used to calculate a star's effective blackbody temperature.
Lowest layer of what?
The atmosphere.
Solar
Of
atmosphere.
like the solar atmosphere?
Solar atmosphere.
The chromosphere?
Answer?
The
Defer.
chromosphere.
Photosphere. The sun's chromosphere and corona are visible from Earth during these events. These events occur when the moon
Yes.
passes between the Earth and the sun.
Solar eclipses.
Direct.
First and last for 20. Toss up 5. Description acceptable. This action names a 1937 movement founded by Jesse Overholzer, whose modern adherents utilize colorful wordless books to target kids in the 4/14 window. Pioneers who perform this action are labeled as special or auxiliary on field service reports. The film studio Worldwide Pictures was founded by a great legitimator who did this action through radio crusades like Hour of Decision. Acts chapter 1 verse 8 provides the
That's it. Isn't?
Nope. Acts chapter 1 verse 8 provides the impetus for this action in Judea, Samaria, and the ends of the earth, which manifests in modern publications like Awake and Watchtower. A 2-year volunteer commitment to perform this action is a rite of passage for young LDS men. For 10 points, name is action performed door to door by Jehovah's Witnesses.
Proselytizing? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does it accept just spreading religion?
Like being a missionary.
Missionary is fine. Yeah. Yeah. I think spreading religion, I would probably accept it as spreading the word of God.
Yeah.
But yeah, evangelizing is the main answer line. Here's your bonus.
Which specifically
In one work, this author described a port on the Magnesinus called Kathiawar, which scholars have identified as Oc Eo in Vietnam. For 10 points each, name this author of the geography. This Alexandrian mathematician expounded upon the geocentric model of the universe in his Almagest.
Ptolemy, direct.
Ptolemy's geography built upon the work of a cartographer from the city named Marinus. A general built a causeway to besiege this city in 332 BCE.
Tyre, direct.
The Peukinger map, which lists various roads throughout the Roman Empire, also references a port named Muziris in this present-day country. The 6th century monk Cosmas was named for his travels to this country.
Oh, skull. Damn. Shadowy card.
Country.
Syria, direct.
India.
First 2 cards.
Cosmas Indico Pistis. So first 2 for 20, toss up
baited.
6. Henry Louis Gates argued that this author studied camera obscura after James McCune Smith challenged him to be a representative American man. This author quoted James Greenleaf Whittier poem repeating "gone, gone, sold and gone" to discuss the utter loneliness of his grandmother. This author quoted from Matthew chapter 25 after receiving food from Nathan Johnson in a book that Angela Davis discussed in Lectures on Liberation. As a child, this author bartered bread for literacy lessons from other children before acquiring the Columbian Orator. A fight between Edward Covey and this author is depicted in a book with an impassioned foreword by William Lloyd Garrison. For 10 points, My Bondage and My Freedom is a slave narrative by what abolitionist?
August.
Yep.
It was Covey is the slave breaker. Okay.
Yeah. Hubert von Herkimer's lithograph Sunday at Chelsea Hospital inspired this painting, whose pencil studies are called Worn Out. For 10 points each, name this painting that depicts an old veteran covering his face with his fist while sitting in a chair. It tells a 2018 Julian Schnabel film about Vincent van Gogh.
What the painting?
Answer?
I don't know.
At Eternity's Gate. In the film, Willem Dafoe's Van Gogh cuts off this body part after a fight with Paul Gauguin and gives it to a barmaid.
Here.
At Eternity's Gate ends with the reading of a note by Gauguin that fades into a screen of this color. Van Gogh may have eaten paint of this color, which is also the color of the bed frame and bedroom at Arles.
I think it's yellow.
Yep.
Nice.
That is 20 for the last two, toss up 7. This phenomenon causes a namesake dilution in which regression coefficients are underestimated. Endogeneity arises when this is correlated with a predictor. This phenomenon is irreducible when it cannot be mitigated by fitting a different model. The family-wise rate of this phenomenon is reduced by the Bonferroni correction, which reduces the probability.
Overfitting?
No.
Ah, we're good.
Reduces the probability of this phenomenon's type 1 form. The residuals of a regression model are used to estimate the distribution of a term representing this phenomenon. Standard deviation over sample size gives a standard measurement of this phenomenon. For 10 points, name this discrepancy between observed and expected values that is denoted epsilon or E.
Error.
10.
Nice job. Good.
Answer the following about celebrated examples of nature writing for 10 points each. This Aldo Leopold text formulated the idea that a thing is right when it tends to preserve the integrity, stability, and beauty of the biotic community, his land ethic.
No.
Answer?
I don't know who.
It's a Sands County Almanac. A 6-week voyage on the Western Flyer in 1940 provided material for this author's The Log from the Sea of Cortez. Another nonfiction book by this author depicts him traveling the country in a camper called Rocinante with his dog Charlie.
What's the one about
Answer?
Stop back.
Yeah, that's
This transcendentalist classic includes a section on the Battle of the Ants. This book was written by Henry David Thoreau from a cabin near Namesake Pond. Yep. Last two for 20, toss up 8. In a novel by this author, a woman yells she will rise again to scare people on balconies. In a novel by this author, an assassin in a blue tie with white spots shoots a superintendent and a woman suspected of causing an event that humiliates the party on the right and the party on the left. A novel by this author begins when a car does not move forward at a green light. In a sequel by this author, 83% of the Yep, that's 20. An oversized baby set adrift in the Adriatic exemplifies the human sacrifice used to stave off this man's actions. For 10 points each, the Aeneid references what man through the invocation rise up from my bones avenging spirit. This man swore that he'd never be a friend to one city while holding his hand over a fire during a sacrifice to Baal.
Is it Abraham?
Answer?
Turnus.
No, this is Hannibal.
Oh.
Hannibal's rise is prophesied during the self-immolation of this Carthaginian queen, Aeneas' former lover.
Yeah.
Following Hannibal's victory at Cannae and the discovery of unchaste Vestal virgins, 4 foreigners were buried alive on the advice of prophetic texts given to Tarquin the Proud by the Cumaean one of these people. Yep, that's 20, toss up 9. The Canadian biotech company Nexia engineered transgenic goats to secrete this material in their milk. In enclavipes, concentrated micelles of this material form a dope that elongates into a 310 helical liquid crystal in a tapering duct, then is emitted out a spigot. This block copolymer polyalanine and alanine glycine is used by Argyroneta to make diving bells. The major ampullate type of this material has a Young's modulus that exceeds a gigapascal. This material forms stronger fibers than fibroin, but is light enough to form drag lines.
Spider silk.
Yep.
Nice.
Damn.
Yes.
All right, that's 10. Answer the following about recent events in Nunavut for 10 points each. In January 2024, Nunavut underwent this process in which a federal government relinquishes certain powers over a territory. This process has given greater powers to the Welsh Senate.
Oh,
It's like D something.
yeah. D. Just say deconfederation.
Devolution.
Devolution.
A sticking point of Nunavut's devolution was the presence of these facilities on Inuit-owned land. Chuquicamata, a massive open pit, one of these facilities for copper in Chile, has been in operation since 1882.
Mine.
Pope Francis visited Nunavut on a pilgrimage of penance for church-run examples of these educational institutions a year after 751 unmarked graves were found at one in British Columbia.
And it's a boarding
Oh,
school.
no, residential school.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
residential school.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is last 2 for 20. Toss up 10, after which we'll have halftime.
Timeout?
Sure.
Okay, so
Yeah.
This is toss up 10.
1.5 hour delay.
All right. This noun partly names William Driver's prized possession that was almost seized by the Confederate governor of Tennessee. This noun titles a Pulitzer Prize-winning photograph by Stanley Forman, in which Joseph Rake's soil is an object nickname for this concept. A 1989 film titled for this word centers on the all-black 54th Massachusetts Regiment.
Glory.
That's 20.
Nice.
Denzel.
Some women in this event were forced to use shards of glass to scrape the skin from corpses. For 10 points each, name this event orchestrated by Lothar von Trotha following the 1904 rebellion in a German colony.
The Herero genocide.
Yep. During the genocide, Hugo Bofinger conducted an unethical experiment to see if arsenic could treat this disease. During a circumnavigation, James Cook's use of malt and wort provided the vitamin C necessary to prevent this disease.
Scurvy
Very
direct.
This German scientist studied under a professor who conducted race science in Namibia. This man conducted unethical twin experiments at Auschwitz.
No, Mengele direct.
At 30. Now it's halftime. At half, I have 190 for Livingston and 150, or 190 for Hastings, 150 for Livingston. All right, toss up 11.
Oh no.
A force due to this behavior is separated from the center of the contact patch by the pneumatic trail. When the angle of this behavior is non-zero, inertial steering is provided by self-alignment torque. A type of differential gear train that is contrasted with open and locking types is named for limiting this behavior. The absence of this behavior names the assumption that fluids do not move relative to their boundaries. Kinetic, dynamic, or this behavior name a form of friction that arises after and is weak.
Static?
Well,
Okay.
Let's go. You said it
So-
8 times so he gets it.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Well,
And it's lunch. No.
That's so funny the answer that you said.
both players said static.
Exactly.
So that is incorrect.
Okay,
So
Did they get A for bloating?
yeah. So
Yeah.
What was
So,
it?
Meg.
so it just goes dead?
I think that
So
the
it's just
toss-up,
dead.
the toss-up just goes dead.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was it?
So the
sorry.
answer is slipping.
This is so funny. Oh my god.
I am going to roll without slipping myself. How?
I'm going to slip myself a draught of poison.
That's crazy.
Oh, okay, Juliet.
Oh, okay. Toss up 12. A paper by DiMaggio and Powell revisits how these people are organized by institutional isomorphism. These people may be subject to police patrol or fire alarm oversight. 6 principles of ideal organization of these people were identified by a thinker who saw them as the key example of rationalization. The cold efficiency in calculation of these people's institutions is interpreted as creating Max Weber's iron cage.
Like prisoners?
No. Along with interest groups and Congress, these people form the Iron Triangle. The Hatch Act limits the political activity of these people, who may create red tape by enforcing regulations. For 10 points, the executive branch includes what non-elected officials who oversee government?
The civil service?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Bureaucrats is the main answer line.
Okay.
You could point at me, I guess. Bonus.
Would you accept me if I just pointed at you?
Maybe. This quantity is similar for mirror nuclei, for which the proton number of one equals the neutron number of the other, and vice versa. For 10 points each, name this quantity the difference in energy between a nucleus and its individual nucleons considered collectively.
Like the binding energy?
Sure.
Yeah.
The binding energy?
Defer.
Or
Nice.
mass defect. The similarity of mirror nuclei binding energies is due to the charge independence of this fundamental force that holds nuclei together.
Is that strong?
Strong.
Direct.
Strong.
Pairs of mirror nuclei have this more general relationship in which 2 nuclei have equal numbers of nucleons. Lines with slope of -1 on a chart of nuclides describe this relationship that shares its name with the meteorological term.
Oh, I don't know.
Answer?
Isonucleic?
Isobars.
Oh.
So that is 20 for the first two, toss up 13. This movement is the only part of its larger work to feature the bass drum and cymbals, which accompany the piccolo when it plays the main theme in B-flat major and 6/8 time. Michael Spires was one of 4 soloists who performed this section when Riccardo Muti conducted it at the Musikverein on May 7, 2024. This movement opens with a terror fanfare, followed by snippets of previous movements. At this movement's 1824 premiere, its composer was still conducting when this movement ended. A bass sings, "Oh friends, not these..."
Neptune?
Incorrect. "Oh friends, not these sounds" in this movement, which invokes a daughter of Elysium. For 10 points, name this last movement of the composer's D minor Final Symphony, which sets a poem by Friedrich Schiller.
Ode to Joy?
Yep.
Nice.
Oh.
Good
For the
save.
The name of the movie?
The 2023 documentary, The Mission, details how John Allen Cho was killed while visiting an uncontacted tribe living in this archipelago.
Okay.
For 10 points each, name this archipelago, home to the North Sentinelese Islanders. The British housed political prisoners in the infamous cellular jail on this archipelago.
The Andaman and Nicobar Islands.
Direct.
Remote tribes like Palawan, where the Tabon man was discovered.
Philippines direct.
Raja Humabon ruled the kingdom in this modern-day
not
country.
The Philippines direct.
In 1961, Michael Rockefeller disappeared while attempting to contact this island's Asmat people. This island is shared between Indonesia and the country whose capital is Port Moresby.
New Guinea direct.
That's 30.
Good 30.
Toss up 14.
Let's go.
These people divided clan members into black bone and white bone classes, as described in Jack Weatherford's 2004 book titled For Their Leader. Marie Favreau argued that a peace name for these people should be viewed as an earlier version of the Columbian Exchange. William of Rubruck described how these people greatly valued Karakosmos, a black variety of mare's milk that was a dietary staple. A text written during the Year of the Mouse, called These People's Secret History, describes the creation of the Yasa Law Code.
Mongols direct. Wait. I did it again.
Mongols direct. A circular church built from this material after the Great Hanshin earthquake was shipped to Taomi Village in Taiwan in 1999. For 10 points each, name this material, tubes of which were stacked on top of shipping containers by Shigeru Ban to create a cathedral after the 2011 Christchurch earthquake.
It was stacked on top of
Yeah, tubes of glass.
Answer?
Metal, glass.
glass.
Cardboard. The most complex paper architecture in the world is a series of these architectural elements in cardboard by Michael Hansmeyer. The top of these elements differ in their Ionian and Doric orders.
Don't.
Do you want to spell that? Columns.
Columns. COLUMNS columns.
Frey Otto used cardboard tubes shaped like a honeycomb for the Japanese pavilion at one of these events in 2000. Moshe Safdie's blocky Habitat 67 in Montreal was built for one of these events.
World's Fair.
Yeah.
Or Expo. World's Fair direct.
Either. Yeah. That
Time
is
out.
20. Time out.
I was just about to ask you, like, is it that?
2. Okay. So.
Okay. When you're trying to solve for time.
Okay. Going into toss of 15, I have Livingston 250, Hastings 190.
Let's do it.
In a text partly titled For This Adjective, the world is compared to a great machine composed of lesser machines by an experimental theist. Revealed theology is often contrasted with the type of theology named for this adjective, which titles William Paley's 1802 book presenting the watchmaker argument. Positive law is contrasted with the kind of law described by this adjective that applies to rational beings, according...
Intelligent.
Nope.
Ooh.
Good sound.
According to Thomas Aquinas, John Locke used this adjective to refer to the 3 rights of life, liberty, and property, since they are inherent to humans. Early modern scientists referred to their inquiries as this kind of philosophy. For 10 points, give this adjective contrasted with artificial.
Natural.
Yep.
Good job.
Answer the following about novel adaptations by Indian-American director and producer Mira Nair. For 10 points each, Nair's BBC miniseries adaptation of this novel attracted controversy for depicting Lata kissing Kabir in front of a temple. Kabir is one of the title candidates sought by Lata's mother in this Vikram Seth novel.
A suitable boy.
Nair made a movie adaptation of The Namesake, a novel by this author of The Interpreter of Maladies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But here.
After getting an advanced copy, Nair made an adaptation of a Mohsin Hamid novel titled For a Reluctant Example of This Type of Person.
Fundamentalist.
Yep.
Whoa,
Guys,
good.
30.
Nice.
5 to go, 250, 230.
Oh my
and
God.
then we're
Splendid.
We locked in.
Toss up 16. Description acceptable. This phenomenon names a novel that centers on a conflict between the nature-loving garden and the agency. In that novel named for this phenomenon, Red is forced to send a poison letter to Blue. That novel...
This phenomenon. Innocence?
No.
Yeah,
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
That novel, co-written by Amal El-Notar, describes a war fought using this phenomenon.
Like time?
Yep.
Yeah.
I had a friend that was obsessed with this book in 6th grade.
This
Oh
was
my
an
God.
AP Lang reading for the record. This was an AP Lang reading for the record.
What?
For us, it was.
Okay, well, thank God it wasn't for us. I didn't.
Yeah, this is how you lose the time war.
Yes, I had a friend that was like obsessed with it. That's why I know it.
Time travel is the name.
10?
Yeah.
Okay, that's 20.
My guy, that was like.
Immunotherapy is
Based
recommended for tumor cells that have an instability of the microtype of these sequences. For 10 points each, name these regions of short repetitive DNA common in introns or at centromeres. Sequencing services compare the number of tandem repeats of their microtype to predict ancestry.
This is-
Telomeres?
Go
No,
wait,
this wouldn't be
wait.
telomeres. But it
Answer?
wouldn't be telomeres direct.
Satellite DNA or microsatellites?
I've never heard.
The shortest microsatellites inside genes are repeats of this many DNA bases, keeping the reading frame intact since it's also the number of bases in a codon.
3, right?
Yeah,
3 direct.
The number of repeats per microsatellite is measured using this lab technique in a capillary. More often, this technique is run in a tank of buffer connected to red and black leads.
Could be karyotyping.
Sure.
Go with it.
Karyotyping?
It's electrophoresis.
It's never karyotyping.
So
That's
that is
really
10
stupid
for the
name.
middle, toss
Oh,
of 17.
well,
A
The
princess
entire-
of this country converted her estate into a rehabilitation center for ex-convicts after entering a relationship with a robber known as Rene the Cane. In 1953, a ruler of this country sold control of its Society of Sea Baths company to Greece's Aristotle Onassis to revitalize this country's economy. The children's charity Ahmad was founded by a princess of this country who had starred in Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window and To Catch a Thief.
Monica.
Yep, time.
Michael Warriors King. I forget the name of the actress.
Bonus.
Of course they got that.
Grace Kelly. In a study by John Bard on this phenomenon, subjects walked more slowly out of an elevator after hearing words like Florida and bingo. For 10 points each, name this phenomenon in which a stimulus unconsciously influences one's later thinking or behavior, as when seeing the word eat makes one more likely to autofill SO blank P as soup.
Like some kind of subconscious
Priming.
The eat example is discussed in a 2011 book by the psychologist, which also uses the word banana and vomit to demonstrate a cognitive system that acts as an associative machine.
I think it's condiment.
Sure. Condiment.
Description acceptable. Kahneman later criticized behavioral priming studies for failing this scientific standard, in which impairment can be repeated by later authors with similar results.
Replication. Yep.
Good.
Regeneron maxing?
Is that a 30?
That's 30.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Toss up 18. The strength of these objects is measured by a bubble point test. These objects are wedged inside pipette tips used for samples that can aerosolize. In biomanufacturing, these devices made of PES or cellulose acetate are rated by a molecular weight cutoff and are placed tangential to the flow to prevent them from fouling. Sand coated in microbial sludge acts as the trickling type of these devices at a water treatment plant. Chemists dry crystals.
Filter?
10.
Oh, you're crazy.
Answer the following about dates in Islam for 10 points each. Muhammad claimed that Ajwa dates grown in this city would ward off poison and sorcery. Date palm wood composed the original minbar of the Prophet's mosque in this city, to which Muhammad fled from Mecca.
Medina.
The 19th surah relates how this figure consumed dates at the behest of Jibreel. Zechariah acts as the guardian of this figure, whose honor is defended by an infant in a crib.
Figure.
Arnhem?
Yep.
Nice.
This woman recorded how Muhammad called for dates after the Battle of Khaybar, a memory he regretted during his death. This person was accused of falling behind a caravan in Al-Ifq. Answer?
She's
Fatima?
It's Aisha.
you're good. You're
So
good.
20 for the first two. We have a score of 300 for Hastings, 280 for Livingston, and 2 toss-ups to go.
Splendid.
2 answers required.
Oh my God.
A park shared by these two cities contains an acorn-topped marble obelisk called Monument 258. Violence led many elites of one of these cities to move to the suburb of Bonita in the other. During the Satan's Playground era, a Mission Revival building was moved from a 1915 World's Fair site in one of these cities to the other's Agua Caliente district. The Otay Mesa Industrial Park shared by these two cities contains several maquiladoras.
San Diego and Tijuana.
10.
Alright.
I was gonna say El Paso too.
That was disgusting.
Barney McBride was stabbed to death after going to Washington to raise awareness of the murders of members of this ethnic group. In this ethnic group, members of which were targeted by William Hale during the Reign of Terror in order to gain oil rights, as recounted in David Grand's book Killers of the Flower Moon.
The Osage Direct.
Tom White led the investigation of the Osage murders as a member of this organization's predecessor, which had just come out under the oversight of J. Edgar Hoover.
The FBI.
Grant also read about Percy Fawcett going missing in this region. Candido Rondon explored this region with Teddy Roosevelt in a trip that nearly killed the former president.
The Amazon Directed.
That's 30.
Alrighty.
All right, so 320 to 300.
I love you guys.
Toss up.
This is awful.
A title character with this first name builds a home in the Back Bay neighborhood and refuses to support Milton Rogers' fake mill. That character with this first name attempts to marry his daughter Irene to the bourgeois Tom Corey. A character with
Silas.
20.
Alright, we need one. Let's just do it.
Let's go.
In a novel by this author, a teenager overhears her father saying that she looks ugly because she resembles Victoria. For 10 points each, give this pseudonym for the author of The Lying Life of Adults. In another series by this author, Those Who Leave and Those Who Stay, the protagonist tries to keep up with Lila at school. In The Lying Life of Adults, Victoria has this relation to Giovanna. In another novel, Mario works for Pedro Camacho at Radio Pan America and goes to the cinema with a divorcee who has this relationship to him.
On.
Anne Goldstein translated The Lying Life of Adults to English from this language used by Giovanni Boccaccio.
Italian.
That's 30.
Good there, you guys.
You guys are the greatest guys.
Incredible power, Hazel. Oh my god.